genre.
Welcome back to The Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
I'm Nick Jimenez.
And I'm Scott Corelli.
And today on the show we'll be discussing the two-parter, Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel, the 10th Doctor's 6th story.
So this story comes to us from writer Tom McRae, who had been trying to get a story on Doctor Who since it first premiered back in 2005. He'd been trying to get a story on. He and Russell T are they were buddy pals, and Davies, meanwhile, had the idea of so he was approached by Billie Piper, who told him that she did not want to return to the show for a third season. So he started making plans to write her out in a proper fashion. However, the chemistry and bond between Rose and the Doctor was so strong that he knew that he had to basically get rid of her in a permanent fashion.
Yeah.
And knowing that he didn't want to kill her, he had to make it so he had to create a situation in which the Doctor and Rose could never be with each other ever again for reasons. And so having Inferno as a source of inspiration, he decided to create a parallel universe that was very difficult to get into. And use it to do a two-parter in the middle of the season, and then would use that same alternate universe to send Rose to at the end, so that she would be stuck there and wouldn't be able to return and communicate with the Doctor ever again. Ever again. Never again does she ever appear on the show. So that was the plan. He wanted to have alternate versions of all of the sort of Doctor Who main supporting characters, and decided to at the same time use the 2002 Fifth Doctor Big Finish audio story Spare Parts, written by Mark Platt, as another source of inspiration by inventing the Cybermen in this story, sort of showing their origin. However, he was uncomfortable with the idea of showing the original origin, because he didn't want to like change their first appearance in 10th Planet. So he didn't want to mess with that. So he was like, well, this is a perfect opportunity to sort of adapt Spare Parts, because we can do it. We can show the Cybermen origin, but it's not Earth 1's Cybermen origin. It's Earth 2's Cybermen origin. So it sort of like gave him a loophole to do whatever he wanted, essentially. And so that's what we have. We have alternate universe Cybermen origin story with this alternate universe story, and it's interesting because it is very much a sort of a big season finale, like in the middle of the season, which is really interesting because like a lot of stuff happens in this episode, these two episodes, just like a lot of threads getting tied and pulled, and there's stuff from Father's Day in this. There's the sort of the wrapping up of Mickey's arc happens in this story for the most part. And just like Rose has a lot to deal with, and the Doctor is dealing with the way that, you know, he treats companions and how he has favorites and things. And so there's just like a lot of stuff sort of coming to a head in this story, which is, I don't know, interesting, I suppose. Also just like a, you know, like a little, just like a fun thing, for those of you who, maybe didn't realize, this story is also a reunion of, father-son, the Crouches.
Oh my God.
We have Barty Crouch
Holy
and
crap,
Barty
yeah.
Crouch Jr.
Oh my God.
in this story. So it's a bit of a Goblet of Fire reunion, in this.
Scott's favorite one.
Two-parter. Yeah.
What, really? The movie?
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's not.
I was being
facetious.
sarcastic.
I was about to like throw down some like.
No. He's being facetious.
Okay, good.
The movie, it's like one of the worst ones.
It is the worst one.
So, but yeah, so it is Barty Crouch Sr. and Jr. in this story.
God, Nick was about to ruin our friendship.
So that's happening. And then the other important thing, really important thing in this story is that it is directed by Graham Harper. And this is his first New Who episode that he directed, having previously directed classic Doctor Who stories, such as, most famously, of course, The Caves of Androzani, which is arguably the greatest episode of Doctor Who ever. So he directed The Caves of Androzani, as well as Revelation of the Daleks and some others, and he had been wanting to get to direct an episode of the new show. Russell T wanted him, but his schedule just wasn't open for the first series, and they decided to bring him on for this one because, you know, who better to direct the episode with the first Cybermen and New Who than, you know, a guy who was around when they were around the first time. So Graham Harper directed this one, and he would go on to direct lots of episodes of New Who in the Russell T Davies era specifically. But so this was important for that. And the first story, Rise of the Cybermen, the first part of this, actually holds the record for second most viewed episode of Doctor Who ever.
Oh, wow.
It was sixth in the rankings for that week, and it had only been topped once before with The Ark in Space, which reached fifth back in classic Who days. So yeah, that's this story.
Heavy episode.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on. I mean, nothing, dramatic, but lots of
pretty
stuff.
Dramatic stuff. Some more dramatic stuff happens in part two.
Yeah. Oh no, I just mean behind the scenes as well.
Oh, sure. There's no ghosts.
Right. We'll never top that.
Yeah, that's true. We'll never top the ghosts. So yeah, this right off the bat, this story, we start off Rise of the Cybermen, and they get knocked out of the time vortex into an alternate universe, and then the TARDIS dies. Like, it's like the most Russell T Davies thing, because he doesn't care that he's just lying to everybody. Like, he will just have the Doctor be like, yeah, no, it's dead. There's no hope. It's dead. We'll never have a TARDIS again. We're here forever. And it's like, no, you're not. Shut up.
And he sells the hell out of it, though. Like,
he does.
Oh yeah, you really feels. Yeah, you really sell the helplessness, the direness of it. Yeah, but it felt weird. It felt like a weird way to start it for me, because I guess, I mean, it's not the episode's fault, but yeah, you do kind of know that that's not true, so it feels kind of cheap.
Right. I mean, and that's a lot of the things that Russell does can kind of feel cheap. I mean, I mean, perfect example. The cliffhanger to Rise of the Cybermen is cheap as hell. I mean, it's so cheap. They're like delete, and then just like out of nowhere, Deus Ex TARDIS thing. He pulls that out and just zaps them all, and is like, "All right, we're done here. Let's go." And it's just like, "All right."
The epitome of like the cheap Russell T era cliffhanger is the hand in the jar.
Yep.
That just yeah. I'm still angry about that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, yeah, he's kind of a cheap writer, I'll be honest. When it comes to plotting stuff, he's a cheap writer. He's great with character stuff. But when it comes to plot, he does not mind going for the cheap shot. He does it all the time.
I mean, like, to be fair, this show has like a long unstoried career of ridiculous cliffhangers. So
yeah, true.
It's in tradition.
Yeah. That's true.
You know, it just feels like he's playing such a different game than Moffat goes on to play in just a few years. And, you know, I mean, we assume because, you know, we've seen Broadchurch, you know, but you know, cheap is not, I don't disagree with it, but I find it, I kind of like it sometimes. And I know you like a lot of Russell T episodes as well, but yeah, it just seems to be going for like kind of a soap opera-y, campy pulp place that the show very quickly goes past and becomes something else, like a fairy tale or something much more highbrow. So I don't know. Yeah, I was kind of feeling how this episode did feel like such a cliffhangery, like a Saturday morning cartoon sometimes.
Yeah, it was definitely a Saturday morning cartoon, for sure. It was very action packed. I mean, the end of this where the Cyberman falls into the pit of flames as the building is exploding. I mean, it's just so over the top and ridiculous. I don't know.
We even get some Third Doctor action of like a bunch of guys with machine guns rolling out and like mowing Cybermen down.
True. One guy I do want to give a special shout out to Colin Spall, the actor who plays Mr. Crane, the dude with the burger truck. Because he's just real good. I've seen him in other things too, and he's just real good. Like, he's real good at being like kind of sleazy, and I don't know. There's just something about his performance that I just really like a lot. Like, I like to hate him. Like, this guy's a monster, but like just a total sociopath. And I don't know, like, there's something I really like about the way he played Mr. Crane in this episode. I feel like I've seen him in other things as well, but I can't think of what they are.
There's one credit that you and Cassandra might know him from. He actually appeared in 1985's Revelation of the Daleks.
Oh, okay.
That's cool.
All right. Fair
As
enough.
Lilt. That rings a bell.
I do not remember that story.
Yeah.
He kind of reminds me of an evil Michael Caine.
He does. Yeah. Yeah, he does. I guess he doesn't do a lot of acting just in general. He only does like one thing maybe a year. Or maybe he's just slowed down considerably. I don't know. He doesn't have like a lot of credits, it looks like.
He's busy. He's driving around capturing homeless people.
Yeah.
in a burger truck.
It's true. It's very true.
That was great. That was almost like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, like levels of just a guy driving around in a truck collecting folks.
Right. Come on in here.
Get yourself a hot cup of tea and a blanket. You won't be turned into sausage or robots or what have you.
I love that guy. I think he's great. Yeah, so that's good. He kind of reminds me of Wonka's assistant, who seems like the bad guy.
Slugworth.
What's his name?
Slug. Well, you think that he's Slug, yeah.
Yeah, right. You think he's Slughorn, but he's really his assistant or whatever. But that's what he kind of reminds me of, is that guy. That's good. Was he in the Tim Burton version? that character?
I think there was like mention of Slugworth, but there definitely wasn't. I don't think there was a guy who was tempting the children with power for selling out Mr. Wonka. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a minute.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. It's Cybermen, and it's sort of what they end up looking like for the, until they're reinvented, I guess, in that Neil Gaiman episode.
It's it's easy to forget because this was I watched this when it aired on Sci-Fi Network, like I did most of this when I was a kid, and I remember being so excited by it, and this being so definitively Doctor Who to me that I almost take for granted that this was at the time like a grand reveal of this new design of Cybermen, because to me this is what a Cyberman looks like.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true. Yeah, no, it was a big deal. And just like Dalek in season 1, Russell T Davies stuck it halfway through the season as like a ratings pop in the middle of the season, assuming that numbers would have dipped by then, and so then the idea was that we'll put the Cybermen halfway through, and then that'll pop up the ratings again.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. It worked. So, yeah, I don't love this as an origin for the Cybermen. To be honest, I hate that the guy Barty Crouch Sr. is like basically like not Davros.
Yeah, he's like a discount Davros. Like,
yeah, I hate that. I hate that so much. And I don't love that. And apparently, one of the things that Russell T Davies was determined to change about the Cybermen was just like, it's stupid that they're silver. They're going to be made of steel now. Like that was something that he was very adamant about changing.
I don't even remember that they're supposed to be silver. I thought it was just some weird alloy.
Yeah, no, they're supposed to be made of silver, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
I guess that makes their gold allergy funnier, but...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That Christmas song, Silver and Gold, is like a horror song.
No!
It's like a nightmare. Yeah, I don't know. I don't love this. John Lumick, is that his name?
Yeah.
Lumick. Just not great. The way that he plays this character is he feels more like a Sarah Jane Adventures villain than a Doctor Who villain. Like he's just so like Nick put it, like Saturday morning cartoon about it, where it's just you expect him to just be like, next time, Gadget. Like it's just I don't know. Like it's not my favorite.
I know he needs like a long mustache to be like twirling the whole episode.
Yeah, that would be a vast improvement. Honestly, I feel like you don't even need him. Like I feel like you don't need him in this story. Like if you just had the Cybermen make a deal with what's his face, with Mr. Crane, and you just have Mr. Crane going around rounding up homeless people and turning them into Cybermen. Like that's way creepier and better than having like Lex Luthor do it. I don't know.
We want you to drive around in a hamburger truck collecting homeless people. I'll do whatever you like, Mr. Cyberman. I'll do it for free. I love collecting folks. Gathering them up in me truck.
Oh my God.
Right. He's like, he's sort of like, it reminds me of, how what's her face would drum up business for Sweeney Todd.
Sure, yeah, Mrs. Lovett. Mrs. Lovett's meat pies.
Yeah, it's like Mrs. Lovett's drumming up business for Sweeney Todd.
No.
Yeah. Step right in, get yourself a haircut.
We just
shave.
We just need the brain and the heart. They don't need anything else.
Right.
Where's all that meat going?
Yeah, he's making meat pies and he's feeding it to the homeless people.
Feeding the homeless.
Oh no.
Yeah. Mr. Crane way.
Right.
That kind of has I like that because it kind of has a Gilbert Candyman situation to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like a crazy person in a society making a pact with a metal man, or in this case, metal men.
Mm-hmm. That's true. all of the stuff with Rose, like not getting it through her thick head that these are not her parents, was really frustrating to watch. Like, I understand it would be weird, but like the fact that she like kept getting offended when they would do stuff that she was like, that's not what my parents would. Yeah, because they're not your parents, dumb. Like I just kept like yelling at the TV, like, oh my God.
She's also like, what, 20? Like, I always forget that Rose is so young.
I think the show does too a lot of the time. I know I did. I mean, I know going back now watching this, I'm always like, oh wow, the character was like super young. I don't know how young Billie Piper was.
Right.
But
yeah, I don't know. It just kept repeating, like the doctor just kept saying, they're not your parents.
Sure,
not your mother. That's not your father.
It's
my God.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that RTD couldn't think of anything else for Rose to do in this episode, in this story.
Yeah.
Then circle around that same landing spot.
Yeah. Like, I like the thing with like the stuff with her dad is fine, right? Because her dad's dead.
Yeah.
And so like seeing him like walking around is would be weird and something you would have to deal with. But like the stuff with Jackie is what really bothered me, where like she has that conversation with Jackie and then like says something that offends Jackie. And,
you
like,
forget your place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, why are you even talking to her? Like, don't talk to her. Like, she's not your mother. She chose not to have you. She's she named the dog Rose. Like, it just, come on.
And that's a great moment when 10 I feel like that's something I always remember when I think about this episode.
There's a lot of really good 10 moments. 10 euthanizing that Cybermen was really good.
Oh, the one that was, I just got married. Where's Daniel? You're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah. Kill me.
No.
This is sad. Yeah, 10 gets really sad in this one. It's great. It's just vintage Echo, vintage Tenet.
Yes. 10 monologuing, I think, is my favorite Doctor to monologue.
Yes.
Like when he was like monologuing at the cyber controller or cyber leader. And,
about people and why we need pain, and it's what makes us
while also like giving Mickey hints about like what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's my favorite stuff.
That's
like
training, man. That Shakespearean training.
I can think of like, you know, he just did that in Girl in the Fireplace. He did that same move where he is like in a room with the bad guys and he's just like explaining why, you know, how great they are, but also how dumb they are. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I'm going to fight you and defeat you. And then, but like, he very much, like, you can tell the Tennant is a stage actor because he just starts walking around while he's doing it, you know?
Yeah, just like owning the space.
Just sort of owning the space. And it just reminds me of every time he does that, I was like, oh man, his little post-death, pre-regeneration monologue that he does is very in character, I'm realizing.
Yeah.
It's sort of him realizing his groove.
Yeah.
Like, I'm good at this.
Yeah. Soliloquies. That's what I do.
That's my thing. In 9, it was shrugging and grinning. Next time it'll be, who knows what it'll be next
Flailing.
time. Yeah, flailing.
I would just like to thank everyone responsible for putting David Tennant in a tuxedo and glasses. That's some good stuff right there.
Yes, I agree.
And a very iconic 10 look, even though it's just in this episode.
Yeah, with like the Converse and stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
In Titanic, isn't he wearing a tux?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wearing the same, I think he's wearing the exact same outfit in Titanic.
Bless.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got one tux.
I mean, who has more than one tux?
Right? That's all you need.
Yeah. You can rent multiple tuxes if you have back-to-back events, but like, you don't need to buy multiple tuxes. You just have the one. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Imagine open up a closet, you're on a date, you see the guy has like 3 tuxes.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm set for life, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway.
Yeah, no, but it's great. He looks great running. It's just, yeah, I can almost go back and feel like 15, 16-year-old me just being like, I'm going to be watching this show for the rest of my life. This is great.
Yeah. I also like, it's like once a season it happens, in the Russell T Davies era. In the first season, it was the joke with Toxic from Britney Spears playing on New Earth. Or is it new? No, it's the End of the World. End of the World.
Yeah.
Right. And then in this one, it's In the Jungle playing with.
Oh my God! Yeah, he's a psychopath.
Yes, he is a psychopath.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that was a really effective moment of horror for me.
Yeah, and then in the third series, it's Scissor Sisters.
Oh yes, iconic
with the Master. Yeah.
So he gets better each time.
Yeah.
We get a really good Electric Light Orchestra needle drop in that one Stephen Moffat episode.
Right. No, that was a Russell T episode that you're thinking of.
Oh, there was a Russell T episode. Okay.
Yeah, that's later this season. Season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Blue Sky.
Mr. Blue Sky. Yeah. It will. I know it's been in Doctor Who. It's been in Guardians Volume 2. But for me, it will always be the song from Eternal Sunshine, even though it's not in the movie, but it's in the trailer, and I will always remember it for that. Mr. Blue Sky.
Totally. Yeah. Scott, Cass, what does Mr. Blue Sky remind you of? What's your?
I don't know that I have. I can't think of the song right now, so I don't have the cultural context, I guess.
Oh yeah, it's the opening song from Guardians Volume 2, the one that Baby Groot is dancing to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
so. Speaking of cultural context, one of the biggest parts of this episode is the concept of we as humans have taken to wearing these little bud pod things inside both of our ears, thus making us susceptible, naked even, to the threat of cyber control. Mm-hmm. So how did that bit of satire of social commentary make you guys feel personally?
It made me want to put on a Bluetooth headset and give Russell T Davies the finger. It's so stupid. It's just it feels like an old man complaining about this thing that he doesn't understand.
Yeah, newfangled tech.
Yeah. I hate it. I really do. I think it's stupid.
I think it kind of it reminds me of Stephen Moffat's knack for taking ordinary objects and making them scary. But
yeah.
I feel like Stephen Moffat does it from a place of less political satire.
Yeah, it's more from why do we all hate looking behind us? That's interesting.
Yeah,
what if there was a monster that... But yeah, with this, it's more like phones.
Kids these days.
And it's just it's really frustrating too, because it's well, you're complaining about how stupid people look with Bluetooth headsets, and that's not what they do. Apparently what you think the Bluetooth headsets do are not what they actually do. They're just used for phone calls, man. Mm-hmm. You don't get the news from a Bluetooth headset. What are you doing? I don't know. Yeah. See, now he's made me the old man who shakes his fist at the sky.
And kind of similar to what we were talking about with the long game, it kind of just circles the sink. It never really goes in to why do we do this? Why are we so hungry for the next thing? It just kind of surface level, oh, look at us, look at these 2000s idiots and their earbuds and their Bluetooths.
I think it feels like one of those really tired smartphone commentary things, but smartphones weren't even a thing at the time.
Yes.
So it's kind of weird in that way, but I guess timely in quotation marks, but those are dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
It's dumb. It's not good. I will say probably my favorite thing in this is the way they defeat the Cybermen, which is that they return their emotions to them.
And then they all explode. What?
And they just all scream in existential horror
it's
and pain
horrible.
And explode. Yeah.
And might I add, we brought up earlier the Doctor, mercy killing a cyber woman because it was like, Dad, you're my wedding. Like, I can't deal with this. So we just saw firsthand how much pain a Cyberman can feel. And then the solution is flip the switch. We'll make them all feel to death and they'll just explode from the misery of their new existence. And that moment,
honestly, hard saying.
Relatable. Yeah.
Sure. But the way that it's handled in the episode, like people high five.
Yeah.
People are hugging. Like, we did it. It's another fun adventure had. And meanwhile, the Cybermen are like, no, I had a son. And they're just like exploding. And I just found it impossible to enjoy this time because I just found myself, my hearts were going out to these poor people that were exploding. It was such a weird way to solve the problem. Or do it, but then have the Doctor be super emo about it.
Yeah.
Like,
he was, though. He did. He went up to one of them and he was like, I am so sorry. It was the only way.
Thank you.
Well, as long as you're sorry.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But no, I thought the way, I don't know. I thought there was some weird moments in that scene.
Yeah.
Dark Russell T.
Yeah. And then Mickey stays behind on Earth too.
Yeah, to say with his Graham. Remember me, Graham? You don't love me. None of you love me. I'm just a little toy dog. Here, Graham. That was Mickey for most of the episode, but we were talking about how the difference between Mickey and Gunk for Brains. I can't even remember his name.
Ricky?
The guy from The Long Game.
Oh. Adam.
Adam.
Yeah. And yeah, like your heart, I do, maybe it's Noel Clarke's performance, but I always find myself sympathizing with Mickey in this episode and like rooting for him, by the end of it. Yeah.
I guess, they made a couple of changes, to his character, in this story, because originally, the plan was that it was going to be more ambiguous as to which character died and which one was alive. Yeah. Like it was going to be, yeah, right. It was going to be a thing where, one of them was going to die and they're like, well, which one was it? And like, it was going to literally be like the Noel Clarke character, which is going to be like, I mean, doesn't matter. Like this world needs me. So I'm staying,
Which is funny because again, credit to Noel Clarke, Ricky and Mickey, very different people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very much so. I think probably that's why it was cut because
he was like, he's too good.
Yeah, or they were like, maybe Noel Clarke was like, I don't know how to play it so that they're different but close enough. Like,
like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's confusing. The other thing that was changed was that originally Mickey was going to find out that Ricky was actually in a relationship with Jake.
Oh, yeah. See, I was reading that undertone this time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Apparently the references to that were cut out of the final episode. But that was the original plan. And then I was watching it this time after reading that, and I was just like, man, this is so much sadder now because like poor Jake was like in love with Ricky and now he's stuck with this idiot who looks just like him, but isn't gay, like isn't interested in him and just is like, hey, let's go do all these things together. And just like, yeah, sure. The guy who looks and sounds exactly like the guy that I was just in love with.
Hey, look, mate, I know I look like Ricky, but I'm not, right? I'm my own person. Treat me like my own person. Right, fine, cool, great.
It's so much more depressing.
It is.
Yeah.
Poor Jake.
Yeah, poor Jake.
That would have been interesting.
He tried to save that poor homeless guy, but that homeless guy, I mean, he was just.
I know, what is the line?
Wimpy.
He's like, I'm so hungry.
He's basically like Wimpy from Popeye. He's just like, no, I need that hamburger. Tuesdays.
I'll pay you Tuesday. Always Tuesday.
Anyway. Yeah, so I don't love this one. I think my biggest disappointment with this one is like I is basically twofold. Because one, I do not like this origin for Cybermen. I think it's boring, and I don't think it says anything interesting about Bluetooth technology or whatever the hell they're trying to do. I don't like that. And the allegory just isn't taken far enough for me, I think, for it to really work. So I don't like that. And then the other part that I don't like is like, we're in an alternate universe. Like, man, own it. Like, that's my favorite part about Inferno is it's so different.
Right. It's like, oh, look, there's Zeppelins. Like, I love a good Zeppelin, but like, I don't know.
It's not enough. Like, I wanted it to be more different.
And it ends up having so little to do with the rest of the world. Like, the fact that there's Zeppelins. And it's such like it's such a great visual that, you're like, wait, why do you even... Right. It's added so much to the budget. Like, make it
the only thing that it does is that they escape on a Zeppelin and cut that Cyberman off of a Zeppelin.
Right.
No. Yeah, and we get that great.
It's over, Anakin. Explosion. I have the high ground. No.
Yeah. Literally falls into the flames, and then the whole building explodes.
So good. It's so like
after already the building is on fire, and then the fire explodes.
Oh like, man, it's like so cheesy action movie. I love that stuff.
Oh man, God, it was like the beginning of Cliffhanger or something. It's just so weird. Anyway, so. That's this story. It's whatever. I don't know. I also feel like it doesn't. I don't think it earns its two-parter status.
Yeah, it felt super long, like needlessly long.
Padded.
There's a lot
padded.
Yeah.
There's a lot of plot that they have to get through, but but a lot of it feels again kind of like Rose, like circling in place.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, no, I don't. I think that this needed another draft, and it needed to be turned into a single parter. And I think it would have been better. Or, I mean, the thing that I love about the Stephen Moffat era two-parters is that each part was very distinctive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's very good at that, of like making it feel like part of a whole, but also like giving each episode it's like an individual flavor.
Yeah, sometimes as simple as part 1 is above the ground, part 2 is underground. But like, it was enough.
Yeah, no, totally. And I feel like Russell never really did that, and it you can feel it in this story. It just goes on and on forever. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway,
I will say on my end, closing thoughts or whatever.
Sure.
I am I'm conscious of how critical I have been about Cybermen on this program.
Mm-hmm.
There aren't a lot of Cybermen episodes that I love or look forward to watching again. So I think it's worth saying that, going back and watching these two, I do remember thinking like, oh, this is actually kind of, for me, a Cybermen story that I enjoy, or I think they're really effective here. I think there's a lot of creepy, heartbreaking, horrifying Cybermen moments in this. And I'm like, oh, this is why they're such a good villain.
That's fair.
Yeah. But I will say, I think everything that's done good here is done better in the finale of season 2.
Very true.
Yeah.
God, that's so weird. They are in the finale.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
You are Cybermen better at dying.
Yeah, it's like possibly the greatest moment in the history of the show.
The weird rap battle they have.
Yeah, my God, I can't wait. Anyway, so that's Rise of Cybermen: Age of Steel.
Man, kind of prophesizing the every sequel to every franchise being either a rise of or an age of.
Oh,
yeah. And we will be back to wrap up the 6th season of The Long Way Around with Amy's Choice.